Well, the book's called A History of Angels, as told by Archangel Gabriel. And I asked Gabriel, and that's what he told me to tell. They call it that because it's like a modern history, he called it, just of recent times, and of the beings that affect us, the negative and positive, and the great forces that are at work are on Earth now. A lot of energy is being pushed into Earth now, so by God, who I nicknamed the Big Fella. So he's trying to support people who want to walk the path, want to find the light, and those who want to walk the ego path, they're being, freedom of choice, allowed to go that way. All my life I'd wanted to meet an angel. I was fascinated by them. I don't know why, always drawn to the thought of them, and then I could sense in my heart, I could feel this being behind me, a man it was, like with wings and stuff, but it was like I could sense him there. And it was like cool water. All my emotions that were running so hot, I cooled down. My head wasn't working anymore. It was just, I felt really, even my grief was fine. Everything was lovely. It was good. It was rich. It wasn't all this crap in my head going on. Yeah. I remember my girlfriend and I were stuck up in Broome in a tent in the monsoon. Our relationship was just, we were like tearing each other to pieces, just so needy and unhappy. And the extreme heat and the rain and the mozzies, And then, I remember really, really longing for some help, realising I couldn't fix my life and that I tried my best to make things work, and I thought I'd found the person that was going to make me happy, and I was doing the trip I've always wanted to do, and I was still really unhappy. So yeah, I remember when my girlfriend finally left and I was broke and I was stuck up there. I remember I was absolutely assailed by these negative thoughts of committing suicide, of being abandoned, and my terrible relationship with my father and all this sort of stuff. And there was this gum tree I kept looking at, and I thought I was going to hang myself from it. I remember this one awful night, just storms blowing and all that. It was like something out of an apocalyptic film. And this hand just touched me on my shoulder from behind and hugged me, and I just felt really loved and everything was going to be okay. And I cried. I hadn't cried since I was 15 or even since I was like 12 or something. And I felt great relief. And I felt you feel angels, you feel in your heart, they speak to you through your heart, they don't talk in your head, you don't hear a voice. And when they say something, it sort of expands within you, like it's so complex what they're trying to say, but it's beautiful, deep feelings, and I felt everything was going to be all right, and that I really was being, in a way, I had connections to people that were really negative, that were destroying me, and I felt them severed for a while, so I felt really clean and basic and uncomplicated for the first time in my life. Just while he was talking to me, like everything was fine. Yes, when I was up north, I started drawing. I think I was guided to start drawing these mandalas in the dirt every day, and when I was in such pain, and it helped. And they were basically helping me feel. I didn't understand how I felt. I was a real man. I thought I had 5 feelings, just like hate and anger and frustration and love and joy or something, or jealousy might be thrown in there 6. And, if you tell that to a girl, they'd just laugh. I remember my girlfriend couldn't believe that's all I felt. And then when I started to draw these mandalas, some of them are negative, some of them are positive, I started to feel a myriad of feelings, beautiful, complex things, and also things that were stifling and suffocating. And the Spirit, or God, helped me find a way to find these things within myself, look at them, and then they'd melt away. All I had to do was face them. It was always just about facing it. Didn't have to fix it. Just feel it, understand it, and let it go. It was a non-attachment sort of thing. So that led to me making my art, which then people were very interested. I was surprised my art was very private. It was like a diary. I didn't want to show anyone. It was precious. So that was the first time in my life, because I used to do art for everybody else. But then the art led to me having to try to explain what the art meant. And people started to get more and more interested in my little writings underneath. The spirits I was drawing about, or the awakenings that were being offered by those pictures or sculptures. And then a friend of mine who was an art curator said you need to do an artist statement. And that began it all. When I started writing about how living up north inspired me to sort of open up to soul and the help from Gabriel, and only I had so much help from spirit guides, especially up north. And this whole huge world of beautiful spirits willing to help, and And he said, well, that's really interesting, and that sort of led. I didn't realise anyone would be interested, and you never do. You just sort of think, oh, it's just some sort of wacky thing I'm into. I'd sort of, in a way, break it down into a few different areas. One's like the personal journey for myself. Another was this, I had a vision that ran 10 days. I asked Gabriel I wanted to understand the universe. So then I had a vision that ran 10 days. And I'd look, again, that's something I'd only heard about in books, about gurus and stuff go through. And in it just kept showing these amazing godlike beings falling and fighting and murdering each other and doing terrible things, and then all around Earth, all the gods and goddesses of the ancient Earth, and it looked like a great myth or fable, and we're affected by that. We're very affected by these amazing beings and I started to realise that recently, the negative beings are amazingly good at technology and building, and you can see their energy very much in the Earth now, weapons, and these people have mastered amazing gifts. And then there's the other ones, like the beings of light, who are amazing compassion, healing, being part of a bigger creative thing, like people like Buddha and Jesus Christ and stuff, that amazing Buddha energy and Christ energy of being part of the song, I call it, the beautiful infinite creation song. Yeah. So that's what I tried to write about there, these beings, how they've cycled. Lucifer was one example, the devil and Satan, who are three different beings in Gabriel's story, and how they fall and how they get caught up in Earth and how they affect people, and and a lot of people just think it's all garbage, but Aboriginal people wouldn't. The ancient Celts or Gauls they had no problem with it at all. So, but as we've modernised, we want to keep things in a way we feel we have more control over things, but we're still being very affected by these things. There's a lot of people out there who have beautiful souls and they don't know it. They're very drawn to this sort of stuff, and I call them brothers and sisters. They're people who can feel intimacy, that know that a lot of the people they're around they can't get close to. They feel cut off from God. They feel there's a longing in them, and this book's for them, to help them know that no one, not even a Lucifer's deserted. In the end, they're helped to go home, and he was helped to go home. He was willing to die, and he was willing to do menial work for the rest of his life, and just have no love affairs in his life, and he was helped to go home. But so anyone can be helped to go home. Of course, there's a lot of people in the world who aren't interested in this, what we're talking about today. They're not interested in intimacy. I mean, most of us have had relationships with people and we think they look great and they're smart, they say all the right things, but we feel lonely around them. And that's, it was like when I met you. It's like lovely to meet people. There's special people everywhere, and we all feel a bit cut off and like we're isolated. But we're being reached out to now, so that we can reach out to each other and know that we can link up again, and we can be part of a beautiful thing again. So we'll get the help. We're not expected to know how either. Just the longing. All we need is the desire. And there is a thing in him, he is reaching out now and wants to share with others. And that's, my art was little bits of that. I had the most beautiful chats with people when they come in, and every 1 in 100 person who came in really got the art, and we'd really have the most beautiful spiritual chat, and that was worth the whole exhibition, the whole year of work, just for that one chat. And in a way, that's what the book's about, the people that this will touch, and I'll be nice enough maybe to talk with and share their own spiritual journey. Look, I'd love that. That'd be great. Yeah. Beautiful.